everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am here to talk to you guys about how we're growing our store footprint through a customer-centric lens at Jenni Kayne. But first, I want to start out by giving you guys just a little bit of background on the brand for anyone who's not familiar with Jenni Kayne. So this is Jenni. Jenni founded our brand a little over 18 years ago, and we really started as a traditional fashion brand, really focusing on apparel and footwear, showing at New York Fashion Week. And at that time, we really didn't have stores. We were just focused on wholesale, and we were distributed at independent boutiques and major retailers across the country. About 10 years ago, we started opening our own retail stores, and at that time, Jenni really started curating a really beautiful mix of third-party home and apothecary to sit with her collection. And at that time, Jenni really became known as a tastemaker across lifestyle categories. Since then, we've seen quite a lot of growth as a brand, a lot of evolution. We now really focus on an elevated basics assortment, and we are experiencing incredible growth really in the last year as a brand. We are set to triple our revenue this year over last year, which is incredibly exciting. And there's a number of things that are really influencing that, some changes that we've made in the business that have resulted in this great growth for us. And the first one being that we took the brand really to a direct-to-consumer model, so pulled out of wholesale almost completely. Now over 90% of our business is done through one of our channels, with Nordstrom being our only wholesale partner by design. We also really focused on growing our Jenni Kayne gross margins, so we really pulled out of the third-party goods and have been expanding our Jenni Kayne product categories. We've also focused on really inspiring storytelling and content. Our customers are super engaged, and this has really resonated with her. And then we've really started to fine-tune, I would say, our in-store and e-commerce strategy. So these are our retail stores. So this is 6 of the 7 retail stores that we operate. We have 5 in California, 1 in Denver, which is our newest location, and then 1 here in New York in Tribeca. And our stores are all, you can see, very cohesive, but all are really special and unique to their local market. This is a close-up of our West Hollywood location, which is our original first store. And then this is a close-up of our Tribeca store here in New York. I encourage you to visit anytime you're in the neighborhood. And a big philosophy of our brand, which really drives how we speak to our customer, is our Find Your Uniform campaign, which we launched last year. This has been really huge for us as a brand, and it's a philosophy that Jenni really follows herself, and it's about really taking the stress out of getting dressed in the morning and really investing in high-quality basics, quantity over quality. Quality over quantity, sorry, brain's not working today. So really focusing on that and helping our customer take the stress out of getting ready every day. So our sales associates in our stores ask really pointed questions about lifestyle to help drive our customer in the right direction. And our brand mission at Jenni Kayne is really to inspire women to live well. But we do that off a number of different channels. We obviously have our in-store channels. Our product categories really are a one-stop shop for our customer. All of our experiences in our stores and with the brand, like influencer retreats, have really resonated with our customer. So there's a lot of different ways that we inspire her. So for our agenda today, I wanted to kind of update you on where we are with Jenni Kayne. We are, like I said, have 7 retail stores, but we are in the process of growing to over 40 by the end of 2024. So that is taking up the majority of my time and my team's time at the moment. But I wanted to talk today a little bit about why we're growing our retail footprint, how we plan to keep the customer front of mind while we're doing that, and then how we're using Kastora. So what's working for Jenni Kayne? So obviously it's a big decision to grow from 7 doors to 40. So we really wanted to touch on the things that were the reasons that we felt like this was the right move for us. So first, all of our stores are very profitable, and this year we are experiencing over 66% growth across the board, and that's in both some of our seasoned retail stores and the newer ones. So it's really exciting to see the growth. And the profitability in our stores really comes from a strategic way that we go about doing our stores. We operate off of a much smaller footprint than most. We're usually at least under 1,500 square feet, and most of them are a lot smaller than that. So that really helps us stay lean. And then we also go after really tenant-friendly deals with the landlords. So we just try to make sure we're setting up the stores for long-term success. We also provide really incredible in-person experiences, both for our new and existing customers in our stores. So an example of that is here in this photo is one of our Women's Speaker Series events. We do these quarterly in our stores, and Jenni will moderate a panel of women who come in and are experts on various topics from wellness, interior design, things like that. So those are incredibly well attended. We usually have north of 100 attendees for that, and it's not really necessarily about shopping. It's more about having a really great educational takeaway in the store. We have a super robust local events program in all of our stores. We have at least one event per week, and those range from anything from our Wellness Wednesdays, which we do every month, where a wellness practitioner comes and offers a different service complimentary to our customers, then down to just various things that our store managers are very busy putting on all the time. And then lastly, our stores really support brand awareness and acquisition efforts. Over half of the customers that are shopping in our stores this year are new to the brand. So we know this is a huge opportunity for organic growth. And then our store customer shops at least 3 times per year with us, so we know that everyone we're acquiring in the stores is very valuable to the brand. So that kind of takes me to the why we're opening new stores and really what our goals are. So we feel like for our stores to be successful, we really need them to check all of these boxes. It can't just be about marketing or just about experiences. It really has to do all of these things. So like I just mentioned, we really want to acquire and serve customers. And part of that is also really introducing our e-commerce customers from across the country where we don't have a store currently in their neighborhood, really giving them the opportunity to experience the brand firsthand. So really, that's a huge goal for us. And then, of course, driving revenue. So we know that most of our customers in our stores are also shopping online, and our omni-channel shoppers are by far the most valuable and engaged. So it's really important for us that obviously we're driving revenue, but we know that the stores are a great way for us to do that. We also want to grow brand awareness, and I think that just being present in our customers' communities really helps that just organically, obviously. And then also being positioned near strategic co-tenants and other retailers that have really like-minded businesses, we know that we'll be driving qualified traffic into our stores that way as well. And then lastly, I think this is the most important for us, and it's really to create community. So kind of some of those events that I was talking about earlier, those are really important for us to really have our stores be more than just a shopping destination. We know our customer is coming into our stores oftentimes just to chat with their favorite salesperson that's become like a friend, and to be a place where they can come and learn something and take something away from their experience that's more than just a bag full of clothes, even though we definitely want them to take home a bag full of clothes. So that brings me to how we're keeping the customer front of mind as we're growing. So I think the biggest way that our customer influences all of this is really how they dictate our location planning. So for us, I think the biggest one, this is what pretty much everyone who has online retail does when they start to open physical retail stores, is really looking at those key existing e-commerce markets. So those different markets that are driving both revenue and traffic to our website. So big obvious one, we kind of looked at the top 20 just to give us a good idea of the markets that we wanted to be in. And obviously, all the big obvious ones are there, like your LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York. But I think the more interesting part of it is actually looking at some of the smaller markets that are driving a lot of revenue for us that would be places that you're not necessarily expecting. Like for us, we didn't think Washington, D.C. would be in the top 5, but it is. So things like that become a really important low-hanging fruit for us, which you would think, okay, why isn't Jenni Kayne going to be in Chicago like tomorrow? Like, why are they going to Washington, D.C. first or something like that? But that's why. It's because we really want to get to our most engaged customer as quickly as we can. Then the next part of this is kind of like once we identify the large market that we want to be in, it's really drilling down to finding the neighborhoods where our customer actually lives, like her day-to-day life. Where is she getting coffee? Where is she working out? Where is she having lunch? So kind of drilling down to the neighborhood so we can really meet our customer where she actually is. It's kind of one of those things where we start to look at these different markets, and then you see these trade areas that have all these really hip, cool stores, and there's all these amazing digitally native brands, and there's cool programming, but if it's 30 minutes across town from where our customer lives, like she's probably not going to travel to get there. So sometimes it means going to these less obvious places to open stores, less obvious streets. But if it's part of our customers' daily needs, we know that's going to make us successful. So part of the way that we've kind of drilled down to finding these zip codes, because some of it we know from our existing customers, but then others we kind of have to figure out other ways. We did a really cool customer research project where we worked with a consulting group that basically took a sample set of our customer data and then compared it to their much larger set of data. And were able to tell us throughout the United States where customers with very similar characteristics and traits to our existing customer live, and that was down to the zip code. So that was incredibly helpful for us and really helped us kind of like drill down to places within these large markets where we wanted to be. And then also was eye-opening to places where people who are like our customer live, but probably aren't engaging with our brand yet because we aren't seeing them showing up on our e-commerce revenue. So that kind of will help inform our longer term strategy as we get closer to 2024, maybe opening stores in some of those locations. And then lastly, we wanted to identify the customers who were engaging with our brand beyond transactions. So for this, we actually looked at our lifestyle blog, which is called Rip and Tan. It's named after Jenni's 2 kids, but it has really great engagement. And we wanted to see where our customers lived that were like reading those blog profiles and things like that. Nothing about this was like particularly life-altering compared to what we saw from just looking at our e-commerce revenue. But what it did really inform was the kind of content that our customers are engaging with in different cities. So when we go to build out our new store event plan, we can actually kind of tailor the event topics to what has already been working for us for that customer on our website. So since we're talking about how our customer impacts our business, I wanted to just touch on a couple other things that I think are interesting in our business that we really utilize customer feedback on. And I think one of the most interesting is our buying strategy. So we really, at Jenni Kayne, focus on historical data of what styles and things like that have worked the best for us in the past, like really what our customer is voting on season after season. And in the past, we used to work with traditional designer, designing 1 million new styles every season, buying a few, and then a few of those were really driving the majority of revenue. So that felt really archaic for us. So we really pulled back from that, focused on the data of what was working well, and now we really just iterate on that and redevelop into those things season after season, and that has been a huge contributor to growth for us and a really successful strategy. Next is our rewards program. We launched this in spring of last year, and originally we were thinking rewards program maybe wasn't the right fit for our brand, but really wanted to give back to our customer because she's so supportive and loyal to us. And with this, what we ended up doing was just launching a pretty traditional program, but we also wanted to reward our customer just for engaging with us so she can earn points not just through shopping with us, but also through attending in-store events, writing reviews on our website, and things of that nature. We now have over 17,000 active members in just 1 year, which might seem like a small number, but it's really big for us and we're super excited about it. So we're thrilled that we're able to just continue growing this program. And then lastly, our team. I could talk all day about this. I think our team is super, super amazing. And particularly our in-store team. I think I came from Nordstrom and originally, and that's such a customer-first environment, so I was able to really bring that with me to Jenni Kayne. And so for that reason, I feel like it's so, so important to invest back into our in-store teams, particularly with both compensation and a fair bonus structure. And then also we really invest back into them with time because we know they're really on the front lines with a customer, and we want them to feel valued and not like they're a completely separate part of the organization from the rest of us at corporate. So we really invest back into them with training. We promote from within. We do a lot of management training for anyone who's interested in growth. So we just really have worked very hard to be a really truly omni-channel company from every standpoint, including our culture. So that brings me to why we are now working with Kastora. So we had quite a few pain points as a company with our data. We've kind of been early adopters to the omni-channel strategy way before any of our systems were even remotely close to being able to do the things that we wanted them to do. So it involved a lot of rigging on the back end and manual work for our poor warehouse team and data team that we have. But what has ended up happening basically is that we have all these different platforms, like a separate POS platform, a separate e-commerce platform, separate loyalty, and none of them were speaking to each other. And we really didn't have any sort of warehouse anywhere to see our entire customer data. So that was probably the biggest reason that we looked for a customer data platform and landed on Kastora. Another big one, if any of you guys out here have retail stores, you would know this, but a lot of the store data about kind of customer lifestyle and things like that we get back from store employees can tend to be pretty anecdotal, can be infused with different bias and experience and things like that. So we are working on starting to collect a lot more data about our customer in stores. I know people were starting to talk about quizzes earlier, so we're going to be doing that both in-store and online. So we're excited to be able to pull in some more like really true data on the in-store customer's lifestyle. Personalization is a huge opportunity for us. Just having all of this siloed manual data, we haven't really been able to get a really great way to truly personalize for the customer. It's really been kind of more assumptions and manual. And, of course, that leads us into retention support. So we know we're acquiring all these customers, the company's growing in a huge way, but really all that acquisition doesn't really mean much if we're not going to actually figure out a way to retain all of those people. So we have a dedicated retention marketing team that is going to be utilizing all of these amazing predictive analytics and personalization tools that Kastora has to really support a much more improved retention strategy. And lastly, we just felt like we really had a lack of insight into customer behavior. So wanting to identify those really large opportunities as a company where we felt like we had room to improve. So what's next for us with Custora? So firstly, we are really just digging in here. We're about a month into our relationship with Custora. We've been torturing Cindy and Jen over here with all of our questions about trying to figure out what's the best way to start. But what we're doing first is really looking for, in stores, more meaningful tools for clienteling. So in the past, it's always been, pulling these huge customer lists for the store, not really being able to narrow it down in a very meaningful way. So now we have the ability, obviously, to segment out customers by rewards member or not, and different personas around price, affinities, and things like that. So we've been able to give our employees much more strategic tools for outreach. We're also working on a more personalized approach to retention strategy. So for us, that means working on right now a churn prevention program that we're going to be rolling out soon, and really just trying to automate as much as we can and personalize the retention strategy for our customers. And then lastly, I'm really excited, and we're still very much digging into this, so I'm not 100% sure what this is going to look like, but really using the data that we're finding in Custora and having this more clear customer view to inform more of our store planning decisions over the next few years. So big takeaways today, I just wanted to recap. I think these are all learnings that I've kind of experienced over this journey of opening new stores. But I think first, it's really important for us to really be where our customer is, and I touched on that earlier, but not necessarily going to maybe the most obvious shopping place within a city, but going to the neighborhoods where we're part of our customers' daily need. Our most successful stores that we have right now currently, I would say, check that box. Of course, the more we know about our customer, the better we can serve her. So just being able to really hone in on what it is that our customer is looking for from us. We know we can just tailor her experience even that much further. And then lastly for us, we feel like our successful stores really bring our brand to life, and we feel like in order to do that, we have to check those 4 boxes that I mentioned, driving revenue, creating brand awareness, acquiring customers, and creating community. And that is all for me today. Thank you guys so much for joining. And I'll be around later if you guys have questions.